Welcome to AM Best Audio.
The insurance industry has a long history of managing complex liabilities. In some cases, however, these liabilities become so intricate or burdensome that they require specialized solutions. Over time, runoff transactions have emerged as an important tool to address these challenges. As market conditions have evolved, so too have those runoff transactions and the runoff industry. Today, we're joined by the author of AM Best's new report on the non-life runoff sector, Associate Director Dan Hofmeister. And Dan, the report goes into detail about the rise in runoff specialties. What's the role of these specialists and how has that evolved?
Yeah, thanks, John. So the specialists, like all companies in the runoff sector, are essentially performing the same functions that they all do in runoff in general, right? So the specialists' key differential is that they're not really involved in active underwriting. So their sole purpose is gained around the runoff sector and transacting on those legacy blocks of business. And what we're seeing is that gives them a little more flexibility in the market, do some things that maybe is a little more burdensome for the companies in active underwriting, and that allows them to kind of evolve and become more of capital partners rather than just doing the runoff transactions that we've seen historically.
So the report also touches on some of the risks that must be considered in a runoff scenario. Can you walk us through some of those?
Yeah, so the risks aren't necessarily unique to the runoff sector. I think just like any insurer, reinsurer, you're going to be focused on a lot of those same kind of underwriting, reserving risks. The misconceptions, I think, and certainly something that I had when I first started looking at the sector, is that all of this business is bad business. And it's generally speaking, a lot of the business has performed bad before these runoff carriers take it. But I think what we need to be diligent about in our thought process is that this business is being repriced as they're accessing it. So a lot of this comes down to the due diligence process and the new assumptions that they're building in as they transact on this business. And then another key thing that these companies need to do is have a really active role in the claims management, which we've seen among these specialists.
Customize your data experience. BestLink now offers an interactive company dashboard that provides company-level intelligence in a fast, user-friendly interface featuring interactive tables, charts, and Sparkline performance histories. Customize the dashboard tiles to prioritize the insurer ratings, data, and analytics that best support your workflow. AM Best. Our insight, your advantage.
You mentioned that the market is evolving. So looking forward, what's next for the runoff industry?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that the industry is facing today is they need to be able to break that stigma, which is that preconceived notion that everyone has that the business is bad business and that they're running a much higher risk. I think they can break that and show that these aren't just high-risk companies, they're very much a partner in the industry. And then the other thing is that a lot of the companies that are coming to do runoff are coming after they've had an issue rather than being a proactive solution. We see, in the reinsurance market in general today, a lot of companies, they spend billions across the industry managing proactive risks. Whereas the legacy market is more of a cleanup tool. There's no reason that you shouldn't be looking at your back book as well. And I think the runoff industry is looking for a way to make companies a little more proactive about protecting their tail and on the reserving side rather than waiting until the tail becomes an issue. But this is an ongoing discussion. I think it's going to be interesting to talk with the rest of the market. We have a panel coming up. I think that will be an interesting discussion to get a little more on what that market expects they can do in the future here.
Thanks, Dan.
Yeah, thank you.
As Dan mentioned, AM Best will host a briefing on the runoff market on Wednesday, January 14th at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. The briefing, titled AM Best Market Briefing, Non-Life Runoff, an Evolving Market, will touch on recent research, insights, notable activity over the past year, and expectations for 2026. Joining the panel will be Dan Hofmeister, along with Raj Bora, Executive Vice President, Gallagher Re, Andrew Ward, partner with PricewaterhouseCoopers LLP, and Angwel Zabrananoff, Executive Vice President, Enstar Group. To register for this briefing, click the link in this description.
Looking to get the full attention of the insurance industry? We have the platforms that will do just that. Whether it be AM Best TV, AM Best Audio, Best Review Magazine, or Best Day. Find out more by calling AM Best Advertising Sales at 908-439-2200, extension 5399, and have a great day.